was fighting with the pediatrician. Because he didn't have a sound knowledge, what exactly? Then we had to make him sit, make him understand for an hour, because even though you give the vaccination, he might get, but the severity would be less. To make him understand for an hour, it took such a long time, and he was such a troublesome patient. He was just shouting. He was never ready to listen to anything what the pediatrician was telling. So it happens like that. So always you should have sound knowledge of whatever you are doing. So don't take half knowledge and start shouting at others. So before you say something, before you argue, first know about it. Okay? Why I am telling you is, this can happen even with the parents who come to you. They say, no, I had already immunized him against that. In case if they get mumps or something, no, I had already immunized. How did he get smallpox and chickenpox? Then you should be able to answer. Okay? Yes. Now, some cases, the immunization, you usually give double doses and you have repetition of the doses. So that's all called as the booster dose. Yes? Because sometimes what happens, some vaccinations it's only for one time in a life. Okay? Few vaccinations you need to give booster dose. So what is that booster dose? For example, DPT. DPT or DTP is the same. So DPT, it's usually given for diphtheria, pertussis and tetanus to protect against these three infections: diphtheria, pertussis and tetanus. And this DPT, when you give a vaccination, it will be viable only for few days. So and all these vaccinations, whatever we give, all the immunizations, whatever we give, it's all actually the live attenuated virus or the bacteria of the same condition. Like for example, if it is DPT, if diphtheria, pertussis or tetanus, they extract it from an animal who has already been infected with that, and they usually give the dose of the live bacteria or the live virus into the body. So what happens is, when you give that live, the body, usually the baby will have fever. Okay? That is why, because whatever the bacteria has entered inside, it starts reacting with the immunity, the immunity causing agents in the body, like the antibodies. So whenever, and all these foreign substances are called as the antigens. So they are called as the antigens. Antigens are the foreign substances which enter into the body. Now here the foreign substance is in the form of the vaccination which the child is taking. That's the live bacteria or the live virus which has been entered into the body of the child. So this is the antigen. So once it enters into the body, this antigen, the antibody will get activated. It will increase in number and it's going to attack this antigen. So you will have an antigen antibody reaction. So there is an antigen antibody reaction, your body starts fighting against that. So in that process of fighting, there will be fever. There are few vaccinations now where the fever incidence is also reduced. So that's then just an improvement in those vaccinations. But if there is fever, there is no need to worry as such. Okay. Antigen antibody reaction. That means his body cells are already sensitized to that organism. Okay. In case later further, if he actually contracts the actual infection causing organism, it's not going to harm his body. Why? Because already once the body has received that input, it has already formed the antibodies against that, so it is used to it now. It's just like preparing your soldiers. The soldiers are well prepared, even if the enemy is very strong also, they are well prepared, they are not scared. They can fight. So it's the same way. Okay. So these are the currently recommended vaccines. These are the compulsory vaccines. Which are those? Hepatitis B, DTP, MMR, HIV, polio and varicella. So what is this hepatitis B? And these compulsory vaccinations has to be taken by the child before they enter into the preschool. If they are not taken, if they have skipped any of this vaccination, we need to make a check of it. In case if they have skipped, they can go and get the vaccinations done. Maybe it might not be at the appropriate age, but at least if they have missed it, they should get it done. So these are the compulsory ones they have to, and even from the government side, these are the compulsory ones they have to take. Okay. So first is the hepatitis B. So what is this hepatitis B? Hepatitis, matlab? Yeah, anything which can infect the liver. So you have different strains in this, like you have hepatitis A, B, C, D, E virus. Okay. So here, and this is a specific strain. Hepatitis B is a specific strain. You are immunizing the child against this hepatitis B. And because why it is so important is, hepatitis B, if the child has not taken the vaccination, if the child contracts with hepatitis B, it can be life-threatening to the child. So usually the person can die because of this hepatitis B infection, because there is no treatment for this, since it's a viral infection. Any viral infection, you don't have a specific treatment. Only symptomatic relief can be given. Okay. So hepatitis B is very important, and this is given usually shortly after birth, before the child leaves the hospital. I'll give you the schedule. So, and what age you are going to give the vaccinations, and the second dose can be given in between 1 to 4 months, and the third between 6 to 18 months. Here, whenever you are giving an hepatitis vaccination, it should be 3 doses. Here he has to complete that 3 doses. Initially, if he has taken now, after 2 months or 3 months gap, they give 1 more dose, and again after a month they give 1 more dose. The 3 doses should be completed. That is only to again rejuvenate the memory of the cells of the body. Okay. So why they do like this, giving the repeated doses, once you have given, so it has been sensitized, antigen antibody has formed against that, then what happens later, the memory slowly starts fading. Memory of the cells against that infection. Okay. Again you are going to give 1 more dose, so that the memory again rejuvenates. Means antibodies are further formed against those viruses. So these are the ones which requires repeated dose. 1 dose, it cannot subside. Clear? Even though if the person gets an actual infection, so it cannot subside then. So he has to be given this complete course. Clear? Okay. Next, DTP or diphtheria, tetanus and pertussis. So this guards against the whooping cough. So because of this whooping cough, like here earlier many children used to die because of this, that whooping cough. It was like just like the dog barking. The cough would be of that intensity. Okay, barking of a dog, how it will be? It will be like that. So how the dog barks. And 5 doses are given for this DTP. Usually immediately after birth, and again I'll give you the dosage. So 5 doses are given in a year at a stretch, and you give a booster dose every 2 years once, and again 5 years once, and again when he is 10 years. So give a booster dose. That's called as the booster dose. And this preparation usually contains a new cellular type of pertussis vaccine that causes fewer reactions than the old pertussis vaccine, and doses are usually at the age of 2, 4 and 6 months. Okay. And a 4th dose is given between the age of 15 to 18 months, 5th dose between when the child starts school, and between ages to 4 to 6. And even 10 years also you can give 1 booster dose, and 15 years thereafter otherwise. And vaccinations are very, very much compulsory when you are planning to go abroad, because there are some compulsory vaccinations which you have to take. In case if the child has not completed this vaccination, they won't get the visa also. Okay. Then you have something called as the HIB. So that is Hib vaccine, what we call, which is the Haemophilus influenza B virus. Haemophilus influenza B. Okay. And this is again given in 4 doses, and the first 3 doses are at 2, 4 and 6 months, and the 4th dose between the ages of 12 to 15 months. So this Hib infection, Hib virus, it protects against the meningitis, Haemophilus influenza B, and it again protects against lots of bacterial infections. Hib vaccination basically. And it's a very, very important vaccination. Hib. Okay, it has to be given. Then you have this polio virus. Polio virus, actually earlier days, 30-40 years back, polio was a disease where many people got affected because of that, and it causes a permanent disability. It causes a permanent paralysis. So that's why, because polio is a treatable, it can be avoided, because that's why the government has started this polio drive. They repeatedly have this polio vaccinations, and that's been sponsored by the government. It's very, very expensive. If you want to take it as a vaccination or as a drops, only that one vial costs around 500 to 600 rupees. Okay, the drops what the government gives, that's a sponsor. They spend crores and crores of rupees on that, because polio, it has to get eradicated, because the UNESCO also funds for that. WHO also funds for that. So, since they are looking into the eradication, they are giving repeated dosage of polio. Why this polio? And what happens in this polio is, a polio, in case if you have a polio affected person in the area, so surrounding around, at least say around 4 to 5 kilometers also, if one person is affected, the other one can easily get if its immunity is down. So what happens is, if the polio virus is present in him, it's going to affect him also. It's going to sit in one of the nerves. The polio virus is going to sit in one of the nerves, usually the lower motor, usually the legs. So that's why they have that flaccid paralysis, what we call. So it's called as the flaccid paralysis. So here there will be no strength in the legs. It's flaccid. Okay, there will be muscle wasting. He cannot walk. And that depends on where it is actually sitting in the spinal cord. If it is sitting in one bundle of nerves, so only that bundle of nerve will get flaccidity. If it is sitting in the entire nerve which is supplying the lower limb, both the lower limbs, it depends again. And once it causes, no cure, no treatment for that. It cannot be reverted back. Okay, that is the deadly virus of polio. And why I was telling, if one person in that locality is having, other children can easily contract it, because the stool what he passes, that person, the virus will be live in the stool, the motion what the person passes, and that spreads. So that's why polio is very, very deadly. So even if there is one positive case in that area, they usually entire that area, that full state they give. So if it is in this area, they usually sensitize the entire Bangalore. It's that deadly. Okay, it transmits very faster. And you have two types in this. One, you have oral polio vaccine, and you have the intravenous also. Oral polio, and all these are live polio viruses, whatever we give. And it's not like if you have given the child now, the last one when they have done, it doesn't mean that you should not take him the next time. And within 5 years, all children, whenever there is a polio vaccination drive which is going on, you have to get them the polio vaccinations. Don't skip it. You can give any number of times, no problems with that. If they are having high fever, you should not give, that's it. No problem. No problem. And they say, many times they say, after vaccination, the child died and all those things. It's not going to happen until unless it's been given in a proper condition. Because all the vaccinations, that cold chain has to be maintained. Okay? If the cold chain is not maintained, and if it is not given in a proper way, then it can cause a problem. Otherwise, none of the vaccinations are going to cause a problem. It cannot be life-threatening. Until unless if the child is having some problem, beforehand it's in, or it's in. Okay? There are so many reported cases that after vaccination the child died and all. Nothing.
After taking polio drops,
You should not feed him for at least 1 hour. 1 hour. But that's not going to be life-threatening and all. Nothing is going to happen like that. Only thing, if the child is having fever, you should not give. Because again there will be antigen-antibody reaction, no? So you should avoid in case if there is a serious illness, that's it. Then coming to MMR. So MMR is a vaccination against measles, mumps and rubella. Okay. These are also deadly viral infections wherein it can spread very fast. Measles, mumps and rubella. In measles and all you have this rashes all around. Mumps, basically they say that there will be swelling of the gland here, and that's also highly contagious. If one child in a class gets, the other one easily gets that. Okay, highly contagious. And rubella, this is again highly contagious one, and here there will be rashes all around. There will be red rashes, rubella virus. Okay? And MMR is a compulsory vaccine which has to be given. In case if the child skips in that age, it can be given anytime, at least as early as possible. If it has missed, you have to give it. Okay? Risky as such. I mean, in case if he has not taken the vaccination you are telling about. Yeah, it might be risky. So they have to get the vaccinations done, only then you have to take the admission. But now you have grown up, no problem. Earlier also in the government, even all these compulsory vaccinations, whatever I am telling about, if you go to a government hospital or a health center, primary health center, it will be given free. Yes, that is because the deaths were more because of all these problems. Whooping cough, as I was telling you, that DPT, diphtheria, pertussis and tetanus, whooping cough was one of the major cause of death in children. And even this mumps and MMR, mumps and rubella, it was a major cause of death. That's why the life expectancy was less earlier days. Now the life expectancy is more because of all these protections what we take. And it's compulsory, everybody has. In case if they have skipped, you make sure that they take it. So before your school admissions you have to. So otherwise they won't give admissions in the school. Actually the fact is you should not take admission before that, without that. That's only you are giving, No, I didn't get your point actually, what are you asking?
I'm asking, most of the vaccinations,
Okay.
by the age of 2 years, they are completed all the compulsory vaccines.
Okay.
So it means for the minimum age for the plague vaccination should be 2 years.
Oh, you're asking minimum age should be 2 years. Forget about the vaccination part, you have to think as mental growth also, no? The play group? So if they enjoy your school, then fine, no problems. So usually how they usually match that is according to the first standard where they're going to enter. So in some schools it's 6 years, so some schools they have to complete 6 years, and some schools they have to complete 5 years by March, like that. So it depends. You can don't promote them to the next class, you make them sit in the same class. That's it. Okay, next is?
Polio, how we know if the child is having?
Small age, how you will know? They'll have fever, and immediately after fever they'll not be able to move their leg or hand wherever it's got affected.
But it will affect in the child in small age only, not after 5 years.
It can affect in any age. But these people are more prone to it. Early age, they are more prone to that. And that's one of the treatable causes of paralysis. Okay. Then varicella. So varicella, it's to guard against the chicken pox. So it's called as the varicella zoster. Okay, and that's to guard against chicken pox. And one dose is given between the age of 12 to 18 months. This is an optional vaccine. So it can be given or it can be skipped, so no issues with that. So if you give that, at least the intensity of chicken pox, if it erupts, it will be less. That's it. Okay. Then other vaccines apart from this, there are situations where additional vaccines might be given to a child due to particular healthcare problem. The common vaccines given in these scenarios are one that guard against forms of influenza viruses, pneumococcal bacteria. I'll just discuss now. This are the vaccination schedule which they have given. Okay, and the disease is covered for this. So, at birth, usually before the child leaves the hospital, they make sure that he has been vaccinated, he is given immunized against all this. Which one? BCG, OPV and hepatitis B. So, BCG is Bacilli calmette guerin. Okay, that's the full form of it. It's Bacilli. Bacilli calmette guerin. That is for the tuberculosis, TB. Good one, huh? So she said BCG was for boys chase girls vaccine. Okay. Then, so BCG is basically for tuberculosis. So everyone would have a mark here. So earlier people, those who had, they would have a big mark, but now the mark is a little smaller. So that's for the this thing, fashion part of you. It is not good for females. Huh? Nowadays you don't have a mark. Nowadays, it's come like that. You just have a one pin kind of a thing. But earlier, many people will have a big scar. So that's a scar basically. Okay. So that's a scar. So that means you have taken your BCG vaccination. So earlier they used to do that. They used to check here. Okay, whether you have a scar or you don't have a scar. So if you have a scar, you have taken the vaccination. It's like that. So BCG is basically to avoid tuberculosis. So it doesn't mean that they won't get tuberculosis at the later age. They might get, but maybe the intensity will be less. And tuberculosis is a deadly disease. If it is not taken care of, it can cause death of a person. And that's the disease which is having 100% cure if they take a proper medications. Okay. Then OPV is the oral polio vaccine again, and hepatitis B. These three at birth they give before the child leaves the hospital. Till 5. So after that the immunity develops. So it's not required. Because the polio virus incidences are more in this early age attack. Okay, it's not the chances are very, very minimal. You can't say there are no chances at all. Again, depends on the immunity. Since he has already been sensitized with the polio, he might not. It's like that. Then 6 weeks. At the age of 6 weeks, by 6 weeks he should have completed DTP, that is diphtheria, pertussis and tetanus, oral polio vaccine and intravenous polio vaccine. Intravenous polio vaccine is having, and where the chances or incidences of polio are more, they go for this IPV. Because here the protection is much more better. IPV, but it's little expensive. Then hepatitis B, Hib and PCV. PCV is the pneumococcal vaccine. So this is pneumococcal vaccine. As I told you, this is for the fungal infection, pneumococcus, pneumonia. This is to protect against pneumonia. But this is still in the research level. So they say it might be of help, it might not be of help. So the choice is left to the parent. So if you afford, well and good, because it's little expensive. It's around 2,500 they charge. 2,000? But it's still on the experimental basis. It's still not, they have not come to a conclusion. It is definitely going to protect against pneumococcus and pneumonia. So the choice is yours. If you want, you can give. Then 10 weeks. By 10 weeks of age, the child should have immunized against DTP, OPV plus IPV, Hib and again PCV. Okay. Then 14 weeks, DTP, OPV and IPV. Whenever you go for a vaccination, if you have noticed, your pediatrician will be giving the oral polio vaccine drop. Every time. Every time you go for the vaccination, any other, no problem. Only few of the vaccinations you can't combine, but most of the OPV can be combined with any of the vaccination, no issues. Then hepatitis B, Hib and PCV again. 9 months, you want to give him the only one single dose of measles. you get only for the measles, one vaccination. And this is a compulsory vaccination at the 9 months of age. It has to be given. Then you have this varicella. Varicella for chickenpox. Optional. In case if you want, you can give, if you can afford. I think they charge somewhere around 1,300 to 1,400 now. I don't know how much they charge now. And we used to charge around 1,000, 1,100 or something. Yeah. Then 15 months, MMR, that is measles, mumps and rubella, and you have a PCV booster here. So that's the booster dose of pneumococcal vaccine. But once if you have started that chain, you have to complete that chain. If you have started giving him the PCV, it has to be completed. It should not stop in between. You started, completed. Then 16 months, Hib booster. You're going to give him a booster dose of Haemophilus influenza B virus, which is for the bacterial meningitis. You're going to give it for the meningitis. Then 18 months, DTP booster, then OPV and IPV booster. These are all booster doses you're giving. Then 2 years, you're going to give vaccination against typhoid. For typhoid fever. For typhoid fever also you have a vaccination. So that can be given at the age of 2 years. Not before that. Then 2 years, 1 month, hepatitis A. You can give for hepatitis A. Then again 2 years, 7 months, there is a booster dose. So hepatitis A again. Then 5 years, DTP booster, OPV booster and typhoid. So now the child is totally ready. His immunity and all is totally well developed. So by the 10 years, it is T, DAP, I'll just tell you what is it, and HPV. What is that DAP? Forgotten. Yeah. Then BCG, okay, this is the thing, full forms of it. And you have one more for females now, which is called as the HPV vaccine. Given at any age, usually the menstrual age they give this. HPV is the human papilloma virus. So this is a virus what they have seen genetically that it can cause cervical cancer. Cervical cancer is one of the major cause of death in many of the actually menstruating women. Okay, so this they give as a protective vaccination. It can be given to any girl with the age group within 18 to 35 to 40 you can give it. 18 plus you can give to anybody. And it's a good vaccination. It's going to protect against the cervical cancer. Actually what they say before marriage, because before the intercourse it has to be. It's not like it's not going to be effective. You can take. No problem. And do you have something called as rotavirus? Rotavirus is for the diarrhea in children. So they usually give this rotavirus vaccine. This is also under research only now. So it's not been proven as such. So rotavirus vaccine, in case if you want to, you can give that. Okay, these are some of the list of vaccinations which are given to the children between 0 to 5 years of age, and then further all the booster doses which we have just discussed. So clear with this? Okay, now coming to the growth chart and health card. So growth charts are very, very important. So usually whenever you go to a doctor, you can just take out the cards, health cards of your children and just have a look at it. You'll always have a growth chart in it. Okay? So that's going to give you an indication whether the child is growing normally appropriate to his age. Both height as well as weight. So this growth chart is going to give you an indication about whether the child is undernourished or whether he is malnourished or whether he is overnourished. Okay? So it's very, very important. And growth charts are an important tool for monitoring the children's development, but they are just one of the tools used to ensure a child is growing and developing normally. Okay. I'll just show you the growth chart. Yeah. So this is the growth chart. Okay. So wherein this has been given in months 0, 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 21, so on. And this has been given the baby height. Okay, this is the height growth chart. So similarly you have even for the weight also. In some growth chart you have both height and weight as well in the same. Here what's you want to check is, so the baby's height at the age, what was his height? They usually give the height of the baby immediately after delivery. They check the weight and the height of the baby. Okay, you want to check, take this as a 0 point, and by the end of 3 months just note down his height. So you're going to make a mark, and the same, it has to keep growing like this. So, and they'll be giving a reference range also, a standard reference range where it is easy for you to compare with. So usually the child should be somewhere near to that only, near to that normal growth level. So if he is coming very much lower to that, then he is undernourished, he is getting malnourished. So if it is more than that, becoming obese, he is overnourished. If it is coming very much lower to the reference range, that means the child is having some problem. He is not attaining the, he is not attaining the normal milestone, he is not having the proper weight and the height. Okay, means something is going wrong with the child. So these growth charts are very, very important to come to a conclusion about the health status of the child. Okay, everything they measure and put. Head circumference, usually it's very much of importance till 2 years of age, because this fontanelle, whatever is there, it has to close within the 3 months, the anterior fontanelle, and the posterior one, it has to close within 18 months. That's why they say you should not touch here. Why? Because this will be a cartilage, it will be an open structure. So there is a direct access to the brain here. Yeah, it will be very soft, because it is not fused. The bones are not fused. So usually within first 3 months this fuses. If you go to a doctor, if you just observe, if you take a small child, they'll just check here once, and they'll check here once. Yes, why do they check here? With this you can make out how many fingers gap is there. By 3 months, at least by 3 to maximum by 4 to 5 months, it should close. Okay, this one closes first, and that's why usually the head circumference of the child is more at birth, and by the age of 2 years, it reduces. Why it reduces is because this closes, it fuses. Okay, the skull fuses. And that's why they say a small fall also can be fatal to the child, because there is an open vent here, the brain. Okay, fine. Any doubts with this? Clear? Above average, average, above average, and one is a reference line. Okay, so that reference, you want to keep it as a reference, standard line. Normally, how they make that standard line is also, they study lots of people in the same age group, and normally, with the normal milestone, everything should be of the normal parameters. Okay, they take such kind of children and they make one normal parameter. That's how they take the reference range. Yeah, you have Indian, Asian community you have, and you have Western community, it will be different. Because they are all height and weight and all will be, so it depends on the race also, the area also. Clear? Okay, so finally, this chapter, I don't think I should tell you anything regarding this, because it's very much in general. You have read, no? Okay, it's very much in general. It's everything what I have taught, it's just been put in a nutshell in this final chapter. So you don't want to see me later, huh? You don't want to see the text. Okay. Any doubts what I have taken now? Any doubts? Clear? Full and final? All clear. Okay. So thank you so much.
Dry cough.
Then sir off nobody.
Dry cough. My dry cough. I don't understand what is the problem.
Often he has.